Here's a real secret of how to be productive, and it all starts with just knowing this one simple trick. But before we get into that, let's talk about how your brain kind of works. Your brain has two different modes, a fast mode and a slow mode. Your fast mode is an active type of mode where you're thinking and you're focusing. And the slow mode is a more diffused mode, which is a little bit more relaxed and kind of just wandering. Now, the true way to be productive is to know when to use both of these modes. That's to say that you can't always be focusing and you can't always be relaxing, but you need some type of balance in between both of them. But what is that balance? It kind of goes back to that old saying of all work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy, but relaxing too much might make you feel unfulfilled. So here's how I think you should think about this. There's a great book out there called Deep Work by Cal Newport. There's also a book called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. But let's not stop there. There's even a book on creativity by John Cleese, famous for Monty Python. And you know what the number one thing that they talk about in each one of those books? It's how to make a balance of these two modes in your brain. Cal Newport, for example, will talk about deep work and shallow work sessions. This could be deep work sessions lasting up to 4 hours, or you might even go to the John Cleese idea of just kind of letting your mind wander when you're trying to solve a hard problem. I don't think that there is a one-size-fits-all solution, but I'm going to talk about what I personally do. Inside of my routine today, I have a few different sessions that I label either deep or shallow sessions. Each day, I strive to at least accomplish 2 deep work sessions, and at night, I try to accomplish at least 1 shallow work session. Now, here's the hard part, and probably the part that you care about most. My deep work sessions can last anywhere from about 2 hours to 4 hours. It really just depends on my willpower on the day. My shallow work, however, can last anywhere from about 4 to 6 hours. Just depends on how relaxed I really want to be that night. But let's talk a little bit about what the deep work sessions are and what the shallow work sessions are. The deep work sessions are where I'm trying to focus on one specific task at a time. I'll give myself a lofty goal and then I'll set a timer. Now, one of my favorite timers is the time timer. You can actually use it as kind of a visualization of seeing how much time you have left. Now, because this thing supports 60 minutes, I try for 4 of these during each deep work session. And what I'll do is I'll break those down into Pomodoros. All a Pomodoro is just you set a timer to about 25 minutes. Once that timer is up, you take a rest for about 5 minutes and then you start it all over again. Now, because each Pomodoro lasts about 30 minutes, I can get about 8 of those into each deep work session. But of course, we're all human and nothing's really perfect, so I really aim to try to get about 4 to 6 Pomodoros during that session. So let's recap really quick because I did talk a lot about deep work sessions. So for my deep work sessions, they last up to 4 hours. I'll try to shoot for about 4 to 6 Pomodoros and I'll know I'll be doing pretty good if I get to that point. Now for me, I do a morning deep work session and I do an afternoon deep work session. The morning is best for me because that is when I'm not going to be disturbed at all. I can usually guarantee that I'm going to hit anywhere from about 4 to 6 Pomodoros regardless. The afternoon, however, is a little bit difficult because you're going to be coming off of lunch and you're also going to have a little bit of distractions throughout the day. Although I'll set time for a deep work session, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to hit those Pomodoros that I want to. I figure a few hours every single day on an 8-hour workday is actually quite a lot of work. And I'm talking about focused work, no distractions, just doing the work. But I also mentioned a shallow work session. So I want to talk a little bit about shallow work, or at least my philosophy of what it is. Now, shallow work is a little bit more diffused. It's relaxed. It's kind of figuring out what the next things you need to do for your deep work sessions are. This could be doing some research online, reading some articles, browsing some code, whatever it might be. That's kind of shallow work to me. And I kind of feel that shallow work has to be done every single day because it's going to prepare you for your deep work upcoming. So during my shallow work sessions, I'll usually put things onto my to-do list so that I know what to do in my deep work sessions the following day. But of course, this should be shallow. This should be kind of relaxed and diffused. So I'll be doing this while I'm kind of doing other things, maybe relaxing by reading, maybe relaxing with watching a show, whatever it really might be. And I'll usually set aside at least 2 to 4 hours to do this. Sometimes I'll go up to 4 hours, but not normally on a normal day. And after I'm done with that shallow work, I'll go into like kind of a brainless mode where I'm just going to do whatever I really want to do. For me, that's a lot of reading, video games or just watching mindless TV. But I'll usually limit myself, so I'm not doing that too much. I usually put about an hour or so a day just so I can do that. But one thing I didn't mention is that between the deep work and the shallow work sessions, I will also work out, eat some meals, and even like take a shower. I find that these type of interruptions in between your deep work really helps you kind of get into that diffused mode and kind of solve problems unconsciously. So by the time you get back to another deep work session, then you're kind of ready to go. So if there's one thing that you should take away from this video today, is that you should incorporate deep work and shallow work into your routine. Definitely start small with your deep work sessions, but build up until you get to about 4 hours. When you get to about 4 hours, try to do 2 sessions of deep work so that you total around 8 hours. As for your shallow work, just kind of work slowly up to that 4 hour point in the evenings. In total, this should be about half your day, 12 hours, 8 hours to deep work and 4 hours to shallow work. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be focused and getting stuff done. It just means that you're blocking the time so that you can do that safely. And most importantly, distraction free. This just helps us direct our focus outward and then bring it inward. The more that we can dedicate towards kind of our shallow work, the more we're going to be recharged for the deep work coming up. And although there are some magic numbers that you can use, just go with the Pomodoro technique because that's going to be the best fit anyway. This will help you focus on one thing, and then when you're done with that one thing, you can focus on nothing.